We are here with Austin Tolliver, a former All-American wide receiver, now a big-time recording artist in Nashville, Tennessee, from New Orleans, Louisiana. So I want to ask you how you doing, Austin? What's been going on these
What
days?
up? What up? What up? What up, bro? How you doing, man? You doing good?
Good, yeah. Doing great, doing great.
I'm glad you're good out there in Aloha land.
So you've been doing a lot of music, you've been doing a lot of work. What's the present life been for you since this COVID-19's been going on?
Man, all we've been doing is trying to put as much music together as we can for, as this COVID stuff progresses, we can start giving our fans more entertainment while they're just sitting at home and starting to get their lives back, in order. The more music we can give them, the more entertainment we can give them. My job is to entertain and entertain my fans. And so I'm trying to give them as much music as I could possibly give them to close out 2020.
Now, like I mentioned before, you started your career in football. You were an All-American wide receiver, played at Texas Tech, played at New Mexico State as well. You also played in some of the big leagues, the AFL, the Indoor League. For you, how was your football experience?
Oh man, I tell people all the time that I was born and raised and bred football. And so, coming up, I grew up in NFL locker rooms. I had a much different childhood than the average human, I guess. And, I grew up with my dad playing quarterback and being in the same locker rooms as Deion Sanders and Andre Rison and Brett Favre and all these dudes, man. And so, as I was coming up, it was always football, 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 football. There was no other option. It was football for me or bust. And, I achieved some awesome things in football and got to some levels that I was very proud to get to. And I take my competitive spirit in the football space and bring it over to music because I'd like to make things as competitive as I can possibly make them anytime I'm doing anything.
Now, like you've mentioned, you played football throughout your entire life. Do you have any memorable experiences in football?
Oh shoot, man! I probably got too many memorable football experiences to even break down. But oh man, let me think. So me personally, memorable experiences would have to be high school when I broke the Louisiana receptions record. That was receptions in a career, and I think I broke that my junior year. So that was cool. Let's see. Playing on the same team as Terrell Owens was pretty dope. Catching my first professional touchdown was pretty cool. But I think probably the best memory that I have as just a football player in general was a game that I had in high school that I went. It was the first playoff game that my high school had been to in I don't know, I think 20 years, something like that. And I went for 10 catches for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns, and we won that game by a whole lot and advanced to the next round of the playoffs. And it was the first time my high school had got to experience that in a long time. So I was pumped about that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Dude, we used to ball, man. I had a quarterback that was unbelievable. His name was Andrew Callantone, and he could throw it, I don't know, 70, 80 yards without even stepping in high school. And dude was unbelievable. So he made my job very easy. All I had to do was just have a little bit of space, just a little bit of space. And we were getting the rock, moving it down the field.
Now, shifting gears to music, you've got a big hit out right now. You got numerous big hits, I should say. Tennessee Drip with Willie Hand, 275,000 plus views right now. Talk about that song and, what was the creation behind that?
Yeah, Tennessee Drip's a fun one, man. We came into the studio that day, and Chase J, who's one of the most talented writers I've ever been around in my life, had an idea, and we were talking about it, and then I said, this is what I think it should be, and he did a great job of taking what was in my head, putting it on paper. And so I jump in the booth and start recording the song, and then all of a sudden this dude walks in. Never met him before in my life. He walks in and he's just like, "What's up, bro?" Like, "Hey man, what's going on, dog?" Went out, got out of the booth, introduced myself to him, and Willie's got that energy, man. He's just got that good energy, and he's one of my, dearest friends now, and he's very, very, very talented individual. And I was like, "You want to get on the song?" He was like, "Hell yeah!" So he wrote his verse in like 5 or 10 minutes, jumped in the booth, recorded it, and was just like, "Peace, I gotta go," and then just left, just turned around and left. And that was the coolest part about Tennessee Drip, man, was like so many things came together for Tennessee Drip just to be like absolutely crazy, and it could have fell apart at any minute, but everything gelled together and made it great.
Yeah, sometimes when two minds come together, you can create a bunch of masterpieces.
Shoot, bro, we had like damn 5 minds coming together in that room that day, from the engineer to Chase to Josh to me to Willie. Like, I'm telling you, it was crazy. Like, it was a crazy experience, and we busted that thing right out, and I was pumped about it.
And speaking about recording in studios and speaking about recording, what's a typical day in the life of you recording in the studio?
So recording in the studio is, well, it's interesting that you asked that, because I'm on a reality TV series, like a web series now, with the Stage Door Show, that kind of highlights this. But what we do is our process is very streamlined. So when we get to the studio, we immediately jump to loading everything in with the engineer, telling the engineer what I want to do, and then immediately jumping in the booth. As soon as I jump in the booth, I have a very particular way I like to go about songs, because I'm a perfectionist, and I like to do things until I feel really good about them. Because if I feel really good about it, then everybody that likes my music and enjoys my music is going to feel good about it. So I run through that process. Then after I'm done recording it the first time, I go into the main room of the studio, and we listen down. And once we listen down, I'll listen for certain little things that maybe are a little off timing, or maybe don't sound like I want them to sound, or the words aren't enunciated how I want them enunciated. And as soon as I hear that, I jump back in there. And usually the second time that I record a song in the same day is when you get the best of me on that particular song. And so, we've got it streamlined now to where in a 3 or 4 hour studio session, we may finish 2 or 3 songs, like be done with them, ready to go. So we got a good process. I got a good team, really good team of people behind me. And, I love going in there and doing it, because every time we go in there, we come out with something great.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Knock 2 or 3 songs or more out.
You got to see, I just don't understand. I just don't understand these like 8 to 10 hour to 12 hour sessions that people have, and like don't even finish a song. And people make the excuse of like, when you just start, like, it's okay if you go in and no, it ain't okay. And the reason why it ain't okay is, if you're going in there and you're going to do this music thing for real, and you're going to consider yourself a professional, go into the studio and act like a professional. Have a plan, have an idea, go in there and execute upon that, and move on to the next plan and the next idea and execute upon that. And that's my whole thing, man, is I take every day of this very, very, very seriously, because this is how I feed my family and the families that are around me.
It's speaking about recording, and it's speaking about songs. Another big song that you have is Outlaw Kind of Vibe. That song has got over 470.
I think it just crossed over the 500,000 mark.
Okay.
I think so. Let's check that out while we're on here. Let's check this out for the people, so we can give the people some straight facts here, because the people know I ain't about that craziness. Let's see. What did it just do? Outlaw. Almost 487,907. So I'm pumped about that, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, Outlaw was a cool song, man. Like, how Outlaw came about was wild. We got the beat, and as soon as we got the beat, I sent it over to one of my best friends, Ty Clark, and as soon as he got it, I mean, he didn't even respond to me. And then 15 minutes later, Ty has Outlaw Kind of Vibe already written out, spaced out, and ready to go. And I wrote him back. I was like, dude, you already sent me a demo of this. And he was like, yeah, bro, this is magic. And so I listened to it, and we made it, more me when I listened to it. And within 12 hours, we cut that song, had it mixed and mastered and ready to go. I mean, those are the things that are like, when you get a beat and you get a song that happens like that, like within that 12-hour period, there's not really any other way you can describe it other than like magic. Like, that song was meant to be there. Like, it was meant to happen then. It was meant to go. And I cannot wait for that song just to keep getting as much love as it deserves, because it's a pretty awesome one.
As we're speaking about music still, you're dropping a new EP soon.
We're dropping a new EP, I think, in like either early or mid July, something like that. And then I think we're going to come with an EP after that in September, October ish. And then I think to close the year, we're going to drop an album to close the year, and then head into 2021 just hopefully on fire.
You've mentioned about being on fire and continuing this music journey that you have. What's the transition been like for you? Because I know you're from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I know that you're now living in Nashville, Tennessee. So how has the transition been like for you?
I mean, the transition from Louisiana to Nashville it's different, because down in New Orleans, it's a melting pot of cultures. So you're around black, white, brown, yellow. So, I mean, hell, some people are painted purple. So many different styles of music down there that when you come up to Nashville, it's kind of like a culture shock for a second. Because when you get up here, it's more country. Like, the sounds up here are country music, and the locations are country music, and there's not much like gelling of different sounds that I'm used to. So when I got up here, I was like, whoa, this is a little crazy, right? And so that's why part of what I wanted to do in music was take how I grew up and what I'm familiar with, put it all together in one cool sound, and bring it to Nashville. And now Nashville is starting to embrace that sound. And I mean, it's starting to go crazy, man. Like, it's cool. I love Nashville. I love the surrounding areas of Nashville. Middle Tennessee is one of the most beautiful places in the entire world. But, it's still like one of those things where when you're from a certain area of just culture and you get to another area that the culture is just a little bit different, it's kind of, you have to learn it first. You know what I mean?
You mentioned earlier in June you've released a new reality web series. Can you talk about that? And I seen your first episode. I'm very impressed with it.
No, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. So the little web series that we're doing is kind of cool, because how I first wanted to start it out was I wanted to first start it out as like kind of like a vloggy type thing. Like, here's a day in the life of, what I do, raw and uncut. Like, I may cut my backyard, I may weed eat, I may go hit golf balls, I may go to the gym, I may go to the studio, or I may just be kicking it around the house. And I want everybody to know, what a true day is, right? Well, as we're progressing into the series, you're going to be able to start seeing a true, I guess, reality style video footage of studio sessions. What do we do before, during, after? The venues that we go to, the parties that we go to, the crazy things that go down in Bo Morgan's backyard. Like, you're going to be able just to see everything. And I'm so pumped about the reality series, just simply because I think I'm funny, even though some people don't think I'm funny, but I think I'm funny. So I think I can entertain while we're on camera. And then secondly, like, it's just cool for people that want to get to know who you are, may live across the world, be able to click on a YouTube link and really get an idea of who you are as a person.
And I'm definitely looking to more that you have coming up.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, thanks. It's gonna be dope.
Now, in shifting gears back to music, um, what do you enjoy about music, and what has been your most memorable experience?
Shoot, I mean, I enjoy the process of music. I enjoy taking a blank slate and getting all of the talented people that I deal with on a daily basis together on one particular thing that we're going to do and just see what they can all come up with, and then go and take the next step in the process, which is recording, and then building up the anticipation for that record, and then dropping it and letting everybody hear it. Like, I really enjoy that process. But I think my favorite experiences in music is just being around the people. But I will go on stage and twerk it out. I don't care, because I'm out there to have a good. People are paying their money to come watch me perform on stage. So if you are paying your money to come watch me, it is now my job to make sure that that money's well spent. And I love that. I love being able to give somebody an absolute experience that they can go home and talk about.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, buddy.
Speaking of music, you talk about music and challenges. I remember we last spoke. You want to challenge Post Malone. Why is that something that you're driven to do?
Post Malone is like an Alabama or a LSU, right? And then me, where I'm at right now, I'm like a TCU or like a UCF, right? Like, I know that I'm going to come out there and I'm going to compete with you. I know that I am better than what all of these analysts are saying UCF is, right? But I still got to go play Alabama, right? So I still got to step on that big stage and make Alabama press, right? Like, I got to make them worry about me. So in the sense of, I want Post Malone to look in his rear view mirror and be like, oh shit, there's that kid again, right? And it's not out of it doesn't come from a disrespectful place. It comes out of a place of complete respect, because Post is the best. Right now, you could say he's coasting, right? Because he's the best. Anything he puts out, it doesn't matter. It's going to go crazy. You could say he's coasting. Now, if he has to look in his rearview mirror, all right, well, if you get a better Post Malone and you get a better Austin Tolliver, well, then all of a sudden you start getting a better Florida Georgia line. You start getting a better Kevin Gates. You start getting a better DaBaby. You start getting a better Blueface. You start getting a better Drake. You start getting a better Garth Brooks, right? Like, because everybody's starting to look around and understand that the atmosphere now is, oh crap, man, like, these young dudes are going to start biting at our heels. We got to keep going, right? And that's what I'm trying to change the kind of landscape of the music business is, everybody's got their top 25 in the NCAA, right? Well, everybody will sit there and name you their top 10 in music, right? So now it's time to take that top 10, crack that top 10 in music, and make those people start playing playoff games. And that's it.
Where can people find your music?
Oh, man, y'all can find me everywhere. Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube, whatever, all over that. Underneath my name, Austin Tolliver. That's Tolliver. And you can find me on Instagram at Austin Tolliver Music.
In all the success that you've had in your career now, If you weren't doing music, what do you think your career would have been? I mean, would it have been football, or do you think you would have had a different path you would have taken?
Football came to its end. Football came to its head, right? So it was like you can either keep pushing or keep working and potentially, maybe, possibly make somebody's scout team, right? Or practice squad or whatever. And I sat back and was like, well, you know what? There ain't no reason to risk injury if, I'm not getting paid to risk it. So let's go entertain the world a different way. Then I fully have dove into this music to make it the career that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So, I mean, I was put on this earth to entertain people. And so that's my job. That's who I am. And that's what God blessed me to be able to do. And so for the rest of my life, that's all I'm going to do. One way or another, I'm going to be entertaining people.
And who were some of like your key inspirations in music?
My inspirations of music are all over the board because, like I said, growing up in Louisiana, music was all over the board. So, I love Garth Brooks. I love George Strait. I absolutely love Blake Shelton's music, right? But then I also love Pac. I also love Biggie. I also love Kevin Gates. I also love Boosie. I also love Kelly Clarkson, Demi Lovato, Justin Bieber. You see what I'm saying? Those Post Malone, those people that I just named are all at the top of their game, and they've all been at the top of the game for a long, long, long time, and have been able to shape generations, right? So they inspire me to be able to take my music to that level, to be able to shape generations. And that's literally the Super Bowl for music, is shaping generations.
What can we expect from you in the future?
Shoot, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, I'm going to go down being the best in the world. And if I'm not the best in the world, I'm going to go down swinging and make you put me into the conversation. I mean, that's the whole thing is, if you start something and you think, oh, I'm just going to be average, you don't need to do it. Like you just don't need to do it. And so I think I'm the best. And it don't come from a place of arrogance. It comes from a place of confidence, that I am confident enough that I'm going to go out there and compete with you. And I'm going to make you beat me. And you are either going to make me beat you, or you're going to get passed up. So that's what the future holds for me. The future holds me, at the end of the day, becoming one of the best ever.
And the last question that I have for you, legacy. When you hear the word legacy, what does that mean to you?
Legacy, like I was just saying, legacy just means that at the end of the day, and you have shaped people and generations enough to where no matter what you do, they think of you. No matter if they're on the lake, or if they're in their backyard sitting around a fire pit, or if you're just cooking burgers, you automatically put on my music, right? And so that's where I want to be. That's legacy.
Any special shout outs? Who are you most thankful for?
My team, my management team's incredible. Agent, he's done a hell of a job at pushing my career forward. My producer, Jaded, is one of my best friends. I love him dearly, and he's the one who is responsible for taking my sound to this crazy level. So those two dudes, I'm very blessed to have in my corner. And my brand manager, Jacqueline Martinez, hammers all this stuff out for me on a daily basis and takes care of my branding, and has grown my brand to some crazy levels. So I'm pumped to have her on my side too.
Austin Tolliver, it's been a pleasure interviewing you, my friend. Keep up the great work, and looking forward to hearing from you more, and hopefully we'll meet up sometime, man.
Bro, hell yes. This sounds good, man. I'm going to come out to Hawaii. We're going to kick it on the sand. I don't really like going in the ocean because I'm scared of sharks, but for you, I will make an exception and we can go surfing or something. All right, bro. Y'all have a good one. Peace out. Thanks for having me.